Okay, folks, we are live here with the second leg of Quantum Leap and still got that hot spot on my forehead, but apart from that, I'm doing okay. And we have Clifton Barnes, a video producer who we're going to get to in just a second. And Clifton knows exactly what I mean by that hot spot. Corey, we just want to do another introduction for you to, if folks are just joining us, if you don't mind just telling us who you are and if you have a testimonial for Clifton or something you want to say about Clifton, feel free.
Sure. Corey Knott here, business coach with Think Wing Coaching and co-host along with David on Quantum Leap. I don't know Clifton all that well, other than that we've interviewed him a few times and always just enjoy having him on here. So appreciate you coming back and look forward to hearing what you have to say today. And you had something to share too.
Yeah. We do have. We're going to take a look at a few of his videos in a second. I just say that Clifton's really one of the people I really respect in our East Bay community. Him and Stu are kind of my two guys for collaboration, and Clifton and I have worked together on some promo videos and these podcasts, so we'd love to have him back. And I just love how easygoing he is and what an expert he is. He's actually a second generation videographer. He's going to tell you his dad works with him, and he just does excellent work. And a lot of people are just very happy with what he produces. And we'll let him tell you a little bit more about his story. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Clifton, to tell us about that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. My name is Clifton Barnes with CA and C Video Productions. Fun fact: when my father started the company in '85, and what CA and C actually stood for was Clifton, which is my father, Annette, which is my mother, and Clifton, which is me. Now, my sister came along and we had to do a whole name change. We named it Clifton, Annette, and Children. So if you're wondering what that stands for, that's what it stands for. And yes, we are a family-owned business, like I said, since 1985. And we believe in preserving history because your history matters. We're talking about those life-changing events. We love to bring that nostalgic feeling, to you. And remember those times when you've either had a wedding or you've graduated from school and you want to be able to see those videos. Speaking of, we live stream as well, but not only live stream, we take old video that is already created and transfer it, that analog media, into a digital format. So that's why we believe in preserving history, because your history matters.
Great. And Clifton's won an award for his wedding videography. So he's really the top video producer out here in the East Bay for weddings. I know we're going into wedding season and I'm excited things are opening back up. He's also a great live streamer. And I know there's a lot of those events that are kind of coming online again now, corporate or other personal events, even, funerals or whatever needs to be live streamed. And I know kind of our wheelhouse too is really promo videos. It's something that I think I say 80% of business owners need, but most of them don't know that they need it or they're too shy to do it. But I know you've produced some great promo videos. I don't know if you could just take us through a couple of videos, and maybe they're not necessarily promo, but I wanted to give you a chance to share some of your work.
I appreciate that. I will share. I did do a promo video for the Oakland Chamber of Commerce, which I was very happy with. So I'll just share that and we'll start it up.
So at this time, I'd like to officially welcome everyone to the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce reopening reception.
We are here tonight to celebrate how we build back better together. Listen, Kathy, you're an awesome leader. We are better together. You have done helping 250 businesses through this pandemic, Black-owned businesses.
African Americans, they weren't getting all the PPP funding. We needed to do something, and we needed to do something quick. So Kathy called to action, asked us to raise $500,000 to give grants to all the African American owned business, and I told her, why don't we do me? So we reached out to raise $1 million, and we awarded over 250 grants, $2,500 to $10,000.
Hi, I'm Maria Rutland, founder of Autumn Coaching Group. I'm a recent member of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, and I am so excited to be among such an energetic group. Their president, Kathy, is so passionate about helping local businesses, and that's where I wanted to belong. Thank you so much for all that you're doing for the city of Oakland.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Peters. I'm a proud native of Oakland, California, and a proud member of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to say congratulations to the chairman, Seth Butler, and I also like to say thank you to Ms. Kathy Adams, who have been so supportive to Church Girl and Peters Family Enterprise.
There you go.
Yeah, beautiful. I actually just took some photos of Kathy last week. She was inducted into Oakland Rotary. I got my Rotary shirt on here, and that just a beautiful video with those key folks in Oakland, and all the great work that the Oakland African American Chamber does in the community. I think it's one example of that chamber does more for the business community than really any other organization in Oakland that I know of. So it's great that you help bring that to life and showcase those exciting folks and what they do. And did you have another short video you wanted to share?
That was the main one. Yeah, that was the one that I did. So yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. And what would you say makes you unique as a video producer? I know you kind of do a lot of different things, but if people are kind of looking for that connection with you, what would you say makes you stand out?
I would say what makes me different than other video producers is the second generation aspect. When I said that my father started it, not only do I take that with pride, but also because I learned so much from him. It was, I always joke that when other kids were playing with either, whether you're a woman or man, Barbies or GI Joes or action figures, I should say, I was playing with Betamax and VHS tapes. So it's one of those things where I grew up in the business. I learned almost from, you could almost say from day one, quite honestly, going with dad on job. So I was always asking questions, always curious, trying to learn and figure out. So that's what I would say, just the knowledge that I gained over the years. And I continue learning. So I just love to grow, throughout the business and in life.
Yeah, and I did want to say you actually gave me this mic recommendation. I think a few other people have got this mic since I've been showing it off, and I love that nostalgic feel that you market. And I think people don't realize how powerful video is for nostalgia, that taking some of this, blending the old and new, it's such a powerful medium. And I just, you can't go wrong with some of those classic tapes, that you got to preserve those memories. And this history is so important to, that video. It's really a timeless medium. And I did want to turn it over to Corey for any comments in the second part of the interview.
Yeah, great video. Really enjoyed that, and love to see how you produce your work. So that kind of leads to the question. We always like to ask is, why do you do what you do? And we heard a little bit of your story, but what would you say kind of drives you to doing it the way you do it and the people you serve?
It's when I was, well, I would say not too long ago, honestly, a couple of years ago, my father was moving. a few years ago. And when he was moving, he had these either pictures, photo albums, and then old tapes. And then, it's one of those things for me, it's that nostalgic feeling that you get from seeing those. We talked about the photo books, seeing those pictures of when you're young. Of course, not everybody is blessed to have that, but that's the key. That's what drives me, is to be able to give that. And not only that, I always recommend that everybody has a cell phone now. So that means that everybody has a camera. It doesn't matter if it's even a cheap camera. Everyone has a camera. I always recommend that every 10 years or so, just every 10 years, you start talking, you just look in the camera and talk about your history. What who are you, what got you started in whatever it is that you're doing, because whether you have kids or not, I would say it's definitely for the next generation. But if you don't even have kids, if you have nephews, nieces, or any family, just to be able to, because when I was, like I said, when I was growing up, I wanted to know what my grandfather was like, what my great grandfather was like, what it was my father like, or my mom, or my aunts, or whoever. I just wanted to know about them. So I always recommend that you definitely record that, that history. Of course, I'm not talking about just putting up funny videos on Instagram or TikTok. I'm talking about, like, talked about, who are you? Like, where did you start? Why did you do what you do? Just kind of like this, honestly, just being able to have this, being able to show my children, hey, this is who I am, and this is what I was, this is what I was doing. This is how it was. And I would hope that they continue the family business. And if they don't, that's totally fine too. Let them do what they, decide to do. But that's just me, and that's why I do it, really, for the future generations.
Yeah, and I'll just say as an anecdote for something that you could help out with, that I would suggest a lot of families look at, is we had a family reunion a couple years ago, and it was a chance to, I got my aunt, my mom, and my uncle all on camera talking about their life story from Sweden. And then, less than a year or two later, my uncle passed away. And, now we have that great memory of, that event and that story, and if you don't capture it, then you can go back and even after the fact produce kind of a family history video. And these are all types of things that Clifton would be great to help with. And I think a lot of families really need to look at is having that family history captured, not only in what they have in their own mediums, but a living history through oral tradition, before these folks pass on, to have everybody tell their family story. So sorry, it's a little bit long-winded. I'll turn it back to Corey.
Yeah, no problem. That was, and one of the things that's really kind of an impact us of the last couple of years, of course, is COVID, which makes it harder for families to get together, or harder for these kind of events to happen. So how has that really affected you as a videographer and doing what you?
Yeah, so one of the things, of course, when everything shut down, it was very painful because literally everything shut down. I remember I worked with this magician before, and I was excited that he was coming back to town. He travels, but he was coming back to town, and he was going to be in a particular theater that I wanted to be a part of. And then, March happened and everything shut down. And I was like, oh man, not only are you losing business, but of course, you want to be able to have those experiences as well. So how did it impact me? Well, of course, the world shut down. Now, before the world shut down, if you had a wedding and you wanted people to come, you would invite them, and either they come or they don't. That's just the way it was. But of course, now you have or I should say that now people are getting more familiar with, of course, Zoom. And then they know that live streaming is possible. So really with 2020, of course, not only did it affect me financially, but what ended up happening is that I found myself educating people that live streaming is possible. It's a possibility. You need to do it. So there was many weddings, that were canceled or they were about to get canceled, and I told them, and then they were like, okay, well, let's do that. And so there was weddings where there was 20 people in it. There was weddings that I did that was 8 people. So, there was nonprofits that said that after their live stream of the event, they raised more money at the end of 2020 than before, because now only the people there are not the only ones donating. You got people around the world that can donate to whatever cause. So that's the beauty of live streaming, and that's how it has impacted me. That education first, to be able to share that live streaming as possible. But now, because I took the time to do that, now you have people that are willing to live stream, and it has gotten me more business now than before the pandemic. So it's been a blessing as well.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, we just look for the opportunities, isn't it, right? So who would you say then is your ideal client now?
So I would say that the ideal client for me are churches or pastors and ministers. And the reason, of course, like I said, those life-changing events, the weddings, the memorials, even the graduations. But with that, so churches are very impactful. We started in the church. My father started with recording the sermons for those that couldn't make it to church, or the sick and the shut-in. So churches are important. But with graduations as well, then you have the schools or the principals. Is those are the ideal clients as well, because those are the ones that will bring us on to do the live streaming. And we're not talking about only the colleges, but we're talking about elementary as well, high schools. We have done those graduations, and of course it's graduation season coming up, so that's a thing as well. And then, like I mentioned, the nonprofits. So the ideal clients are the churches, the schools, and nonprofits are really those ideal clients.
Nice. And all right, that's really all the questions I had for you. Do you want to turn it over to David here?
Yeah, good. Well, we're actually going to wrap up a few minutes early. If there's a closing thought, I think about video, I guess since we have a bit of time, I was going to ask you, what are some of the challenges that you see people trying to do DIY their own video? I know there's so much to video that people have no concept about. And there's so many mistakes that are made that people don't even know about the mistakes until they make them. But what would you say are those big cautionary notes about video out there for people who are thinking DIY or hire somebody like Clifton?
Well, I would say that the thing about video is one of the things that I do see. Of course, like I said, everybody has a cell phone, so everybody thinks that they can do it, which, yes, everybody can make a video. That's true. Now, it depends on the type of video you want. Are you making a funny video for Instagram, or are you trying to create a video to show that you're a leader in your industry? So there's a few things that's needed for that. If you're just making a funny video, that's one thing. But if you want to make a professional video, I see most people that do videos or take pictures put the person in the very center of the camera, and then they have all this headroom up here. And so I think that's the most common mistake that people do, is have a whole bunch of headroom. Or some people just cut off the head, as we call it, or they don't have enough headrooms, or it's just eye level, or so that's one of the most the positioning of the camera, is one of the most common mistakes. But really, the different types of video, there's all different types of video, and most people just think that we just turn on the camera and start filming, but there's a lot of preparation that goes into it, a lot of things that may not be outwardly known, or we don't outwardly speak, but we're always thinking about positioning, like you're saying, the audio, like you mentioned earlier. The audio is 50% of the video, literally. So it's like, it's very important. So those are the most common mistakes that I've seen, and we, because we have the experience, it's natural for us to think ahead for that and think about that and correct it before it becomes an issue. Because another thing is that people think that you can make the film and then do the editing, but you almost have to create the film to make your editing very easy. You don't want to film everything and then all of a sudden, okay, now I'm just going to sit with all this video and start editing. That's not the best idea, because you have to have a plan. So creating that plan is a good thing as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I just say there is a real place for raw video, but as Jay-Z says, you don't want to just make a song, you want to make a classic, and you're never going to get that classic without a professional. So and it's not really about the quantity, it's about the quality. And you have to have somebody who can envision it in their head ahead of time. And, you know, like you did with that chamber, you know, and the pacing. And there's so many things I think back to when I first started video that I didn't know that I know now. And there's just no way to create a video to that level without that experience that, you know, we share. So, excellent, Clifton. Well, we're going to leave it there for today. Thanks so much for coming on. We will if you do send me that link to that chamber video, I'll put that in the comments, and I will put your link to your website, and we'll see you back at some point later in the fall or maybe early next year. So thanks a lot for coming on.
I highly appreciate it, and have a good one.
You too.
Bye, everyone.